A better route. Chapter 138. Kushina really didn't know was so important to Tuhia that she didn't even bother to try and stop her when she went to try and help Fu, but it didn't really matter. Fu was up against three-tailed beasts and was going to need help if she was going to survive. That's why it was a good thing Fu wasn't far away, because Kushina didn't want to waste any time with this. Once she got to where Fu was at, her jaw immediately hit the ground. She didn't even need to be where Fu was at, anyone who was even a mile away could see this battle. All four of the Jinchurikis were in full-on tailed beast mode. It was an all-out war between a giant slug, tanuki, turtle, and locust. All three of the other tailed beasts were focusing on Fu, and it was showing too. Kushina couldn't put it any other way than she was getting her ass kicked. However, the Uzumaki wasn't about to stand there and watch. She sprinted right into the fray and got her chakra chains ready. Kushina could see that Shikaku was trying to hold her down with his sand, so she decided to handle him first. Before she could get a hold of him though, the three tails sent out some kind of water ball at her and washed Kushina out of the way. She turned and was about to use her chain on Turtle as payback, but the six-tailed slug wasn't having it. It wiped one of his tails around and smacked Kushina away. Then the giant slug turned his attention to Fu, who was now being pinned to the ground by Shikaku's sand. He spit some of his slim, which was known in the ninja world for being one of the stickiest substances ever, right on her. Kushina jumped back up and tried to move in to protect Fu again, but the three-tailed turtle immediately got into another attack. He began to spin on his spiked shell and rolled right for Kushina. She jumped out of the way by the skin of her teeth as she heard a female voice laughing, "Oh my, you really are an amusing one. It looks like I got back just in time to watch you get your ass kicked and extract the seven tails." Kushina ground her teeth, "Like you could take on three-tailed beasts all on your own. You'd better leave her alone, or I'm gonna." Tuhia cut her off as she raised the ghetto from the ground. "Come now, you aren't gonna do anything. You know that there's no chance for you to beat me and the tailed beasts before time runs out and the ghetto statue sucks the seven tails right out of her." Kushina looked over to see the ghetto statue leaning down next to Fu, who was trying to break out of the sand and slim. Shikaku roared and used his foot to slam the locust's head into the ground. The redhead tried to run in to save her, but Tuhia jumped in front of her, almighty push. Kushina hit the shield of chakra and was sent crashing backwards. She jumped up and tried to make some hand seals as quickly as she could see that the statue was already sucking the seven tails out of Fu, Dragon Flame Bomb. Tuhia looked at the raging ball of fire like it was nothing and raised up her hand to catch the attack. When the fireball hit her hand, it completely absorbed the blow, but Tuhia noticed something else going on. The fireball was apparently a distraction, as Kushina must have known she would bother to use the almighty push to stop ninjutsu. It only made sense that she would know about the Rinnegan since she was an Uzumaki. Since she didn't have anything to protect herself this time, Kushina rushed her and smacked her hard in the face. Kushina was grinning. "How did that feel, bitch?" Tuhia rubbed her face as the six tails and the three tails stood behind her. Shikaku was still holding down Fu. "I'll admit, it didn't feel great. However, you're about to feel much worse." B wasn't doing well either at the moment. He had the first Hokage, quite possibly the greatest ninja who'd ever lived, tried to beat his ass. Usually B felt like he couldn't lose during a battle. However, Hashirama was one of the few people who'd actually been known for being able to single-handedly beat a tailed beast. It was the first time B felt really nervous during a fight. The first began to grow roots from the ground and wrapped them around B's massive hands, pulling them down. He jumped on his arm and began to climb up while making something with his hand. B opened his mouth to attack him when the first got on his shoulder and close to his head, but not nearly fast enough. Hashirama had turned his fist into 5 wooden ones that were twice as big as usual. They gave him enough strength to throw a punch that hurt even Gyuki, which is exactly what he did. B roared at the pain and yanked his hands free of the roots with enough force to get the first off his shoulder. Damn it, bro. How am I supposed to keep thinking of kick-ass rhymes when you're hitting me in the head all the time? Hashirama was clearly very thrown off by this guy. Kick-ass rhymes? You seem to be a strange choice for the container of one of the most power creature ever to live. B opened his mouth and released a small flood of ink and created a small army of ink clones. Once he could talk again he said, "Yo, where I'm from I'm known as the perfect Jinchuriki. Me and Gyuki are in perfect sync, fool, ya fool." The first created just as many wood clones and sent them to take on bees. I must admit, I've never seen someone with the amount of control that you have. Hopefully that's enough for you to be able to defeat me. That wasn't looking like the case, as the bee clones were obliterated by Hashirama's wood clones. The first put his hands onto the ground. Deep forest emergence. More roots sprung up from the ground, only this time there was an incredible amount of them. They didn't just wrap around a few tentacles or his hands, they coiled around every last part of B they could find. B started to try and get loose. You're gonna need more than that to me down, damn it. B burst out of the roots with a massive roar, feeling like he'd accomplished something. The first jumped up and raised his fists again. Sorry, but I haven't even come close to showing you what I can do. 24 fists sprung from each of his arms and hit B in the chest with a loud thud. B got the wind knocked out of him and rolled across the battlefield. Ouch, man. That fucking hurt. Is one of your better attacks? Hashirama started to get his next attack ready. Not even close. Naruto seemed to be the only person whose fight seemed to be going better and better. After Ginkaku had gotten all sealed away, Naruto moved right on to taking on Kinkaku. Of course the ninja was pissed after watching his brother being sealed away, so he'd more or less pulled out all the stops. He'd started off trying to Bashozen to burn, electorate, cut, soak, and crush Naruto, with no results. Naruto's speed combined with the flying thunder god made hitting him with something that felt nearly impossible. Things only got worse for Kinkaku when Naruto managed to steal the deadly fan when he sent a second barrage of clones at him. It would be very accurate to say Kinkaku was getting pretty damn angry. When I get that fan back I'm gonna use it cut you in bite-sized pieces so that I can take what's left of the Kyuubi's chakra. Naruto smirked. You can try, but I think you've just finally met someone who actually knows what to do with Kurama's chakra. Hey, do you want me to give you lessons? Kinkaku was about to explode out of anger. You little shit, I'm gonna kill you. Kinkaku charged at Naruto, who looked at his new weapon. Let's see if I can use this thing properly. Bashozen, fire coil. Naruto swung the fan and tried to focus it to use fire chakra. Much to his surprise, it worked perfectly on his first try, although it took a decent amount of his chakra. It sent out a huge wave of flame that Kinkaku ran right into. At first nothing happened and Naruto started to wonder if he'd taken him down that easily. However, he soon heard an angry shrike and some kind of red mass jumped out of the flames. It almost looked like Naruto's six-tailed mode, but with horns. Naruto even noticed the chakra felt similar to his. What in the hell? That looks like my level 2 Jinchuriki cloak. Kurama tried to explain. He absorbed a fair amount of my chakra kit. It doesn't shock me he could do this. Hell, if Mito and Kushina wanted they could probably do it too. My chakra isn't something that fades over time. Just hit him with something hard and it'll be all over. Naruto cracked his knuckles. Something hard, that shouldn't be too difficult. Kinkaku started to come at him on all fours and Naruto activated his Jinchuriki cloak. Naruto immediately noticed how much faster Kinkaku had gotten to, although immediately wasn't quite fast enough. The false Jinchuriki buried his shoulder into Naruto's gut and made him crash right into a cliff. Naruto cringed and teleported to a kunai he'd throw earlier. That hit had hurt like hell, so Naruto knew he couldn't let him keep going for long. He started to channel Kurama's chakra into his hand as Kinkaku ran at him again. A large blackish ball grew in his hand and Naruto launched it at Kinkaku with as much force as he could manage, tailed beast bomb. Now Kinkaku was the one who got hit in the stomach, only with a much harder attack. The bomb exploded on contact and left a huge crater where Kinkaku had been standing. Naruto could see when the dust cleared that Kinkaku was back to his normal self and was completely immobilized for the hard attack. In a flash, a yellow one to be exact, Naruto was next to Kinkaku and was sealing him away. Not like the way his brother had been, no, Naruto had to use the normal seal this time. He breathed a sigh of relief when the sealing was done. Talk about some crazy sons of bitches. Kurama was grinning ear to ear in Naruto's head. Who cares, at least I finally got those idiots back for what they did to me. Naruto nodded and looked behind him. Yeah, and we got the, hey, where's the Benihiseigo? Naruto ran over to look for it and when he ran back Kinkaku's body was and it gone too. I've got a bad feeling about this. While all this had been going on, Kushina had spent all her time trying to free Fu from Tuhiya's clutches. However, trying to take on a Kage-level ninja and two-tailed beasts, Shikaku was still holding Fu down, was something that just about any ninja would have struggled with. It just added on to the pressure that Fu seemed to have lost almost all of the Seven Tails chakra. Kushina made one last attempt to get to Fu, using her chains to try and catapult over her three opponents. However, that couldn't have worked less. Tuhiya actually laughed as the six-tailed slug whipped up one of its tails and smacked her down. Kushina hit the ground hard and cringed. It wasn't the pain that made her cringe though, she could see Fu was getting the last of her chakra sucked out. Fu began change back into her normal self as the ghetto statue finished up. Tuhiya raised up her hand and statue sucked the three-tailed beast back in. Well, that will do it for now. I'd love to stay and continue kicking the shit out of you, but I have other things to attend to. Ja-ne. The ghetto sunk into the ground and Tuhiya jumped away. Kushina ran right over to Fu. Are you alright? Come on, speak to me. Fu rasped out, help me. Fu didn't look good but she was actually in much better condition than she should be all things considered. Kushina was happy about it but confused. You should be pretty much dead by now. Fu coughed. Chomei said, the seal was weak enough for her leave, without kill me, she went is the statue without a fight, to save my life. It was a moving gesture and one the Uzumaki wasn't going to waste. Kushina wasn't expert with medical ninjutsu but she knew she needed to stabilize before she was moved. She would do her best with what she had for now. They'd captured one more of the tailed beasts. Now only two remained, and she could only pray they weren't captured. See you in the next one.